So when we talk about trauma, everyone rushes to talk about the mother wound. In fact, that was my last video. Yes, the mother wound is extremely important, right? It's all about attachment, emotional attunement, and regulation. And that's true and is very important. But your father or the lack of him, it plays just a big of a role in shaping how safe or unsafe you feel from a nervous system standpoint and how you feel in the world and how you process the world from up here. So if you had a father who was emotionally unavailable, critical, abusive, or physically absent, your nervous system learned something early on. It learned that love was conditional, and it learned that silence was safer than vulnerability, whereas love should be unconditional. And if you had a dad who was physically there, but emotionally MIA, that can be even more confusing, right? Because you can't point to exactly what's missing and why you feel that way. It's the absence that hurts, but you don't have words for it. It's like ordering a pizza, getting the box and running into the pizza box and going, wait a minute, there's no pizza in here. There's just the toppings without the actual pizza. So there's form, but there's actual no substance inside. So you just have a pizza box and a couple of toppings like pepperoni, maybe a sausage, and some pepper flakes. Whew, well, that's freaking weird. So when you grow up like that, you internalize a certain belief. I have to prove myself in order to be worthy. That belief, it doesn't just vanish in thin air when you get to adulthood. It morphs into perfectionism, overachieving, or I need to be the strongest form of myself out of everyone in order to feel validated. So you might have become really good at performing competency while quietly feeling emotionally empty. So on one hand, you look strong and just very capable, but deep inside, you're like, fuck, I can't understand why I feel so weak and just cry all the time. And so you wonder why my relationships feel so exhausting. You date someone and that second or third date, they start to get close. Your nervous system goes, bitch, I can't let you get close. Yeah, that's your nervous system going, alert, alert, alert. There's possible disappointment detected. So yeah, I can't really get close to this person. And you can blame that early father wound that taught you that love equals uncertainty. And so you learn to anticipate rejection before it happens. So you reject before you get rejected.
I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't think we're a match.
Wait, really? Why not?
So now you put CPTSD in there, and that thrives in that kind of environment. It's not just one big event, right? It's chronic, prolonged abuse that occurs. As a result, your emotions get deprived and you slowly start to erode into the world is not safe. And when the father wound overlaps with CPTSD, it's like running your emotional nervous system into the ground and not understanding why you feel so tired, why you feel so disconnected from people, why love always has to be conditional and you have to perform in order to feel like you're being accepted, or you can't accept people unless they do that for you. But here's where it starts to get interesting, right? Where the healing starts to take part is not confronting your father during Thanksgiving with a 3-page monologue like, dear dad, you are one stupid mother. Chill, Joe. This is a family show. So it means recognizing that your worth has never been up to someone else to determine or to take away. It means that reparenting yourself is part of the healing process, and you can give yourself approval, and you don't have to seek approval from a third-party source like your dad, even though he should have gave you approval when you were a kid. But that's in the past. And the most important part is you have to learn to give yourself something you never got from him. Consistent validation, emotional presence, safety. And that has to happen day in, day out, minute to minute, day to day. You name it, you have to show up for yourself. And like I tell my clients and I tell myself all the time, maybe I just have to tell myself I'm good enough. Today is my day. I belong here. Otherwise, your brain is going to go, yeah, I don't feel good. I feel like shit. I'm worthless, blah, 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 blah. Fight back to it and don't let that repeat structure take over, because it's not true. And you know, healing doesn't have to be so goddamn serious, because trauma is serious. It's not a spiritual boot camp where you just have to be this monk that's just never going to laugh, right? I laugh at my pain all the time. Sometimes healing looks like laughing at this crazy roller coaster of emotional just blah you've been on, right? This chaotic system, a nervous system that just learned to survive. And sometimes you go, you know what? Maybe that's the key, is laughing a little more while I try to heal myself and manage these symptoms. And what you do when you laugh, right? And you learn how to laugh, you tell your inner child to, hey buddy, we're good. Here's a hug. Everything's okay. You give yourself emotional credit and the reward to check in on yourself and show up for yourself. So the thing is that the father wound doesn't define you, right? But it did shape the blueprint on how you attach, how you achieve, and how you self-soothe. So healing isn't about blaming your father. It's not about saying how much of a piece of shit he was, or he might have been, but it's about understanding the impact so you can reclaim your agency over your emotional life, because you have control over your own emotions. Believe it or not, even though CPTSD and that father wound will tell you otherwise. So yes, some people had dads who yelled, some people had dads who vanished, some people had dads who physically assaulted them, who sexually assaulted them, and some had the nice guy, but who weren't emotionally available. They were just shut down. So each of those experiences, it leaves an imprint, and CPTSD thrives in that emotional gap where guidance and safety should have been. But the good part is, when you start giving yourself that structure and that reassurance that you missed, your nervous system slowly starts to feel safe and to rest again. You stop mistaking intensity for connection, and you start noticing the quiet, steady love that was always there inside of you, not outside of it. So the main takeaway is, you don't heal by trying to fix your father. That might be too late for him, right? If he can't fix himself, then it might be a hard road because you can't fix him. You start healing by becoming the kind of adult that you needed as a kid. You heal by setting boundaries, by showing up for yourself consistently, and by realizing you never had to earn love in the first place. You were always loved, and you should have always been loved by your caretaker. So yes, it's true that maybe your dad didn't know how to say, "I'm proud of you." Maybe he didn't know how to sit there with his emotions without trying to fix them. But you can learn to do that for yourself. And that's the work. That's the healing. That's the reprogramming of your nervous system that can 100% happen, but it takes time. Because at the end of the day, healing the father wound isn't about changing the past. It's about giving the inner child a future where love doesn't have to hurt, where safety doesn't feel foreign, and where your worth isn't attached to a negotiation or a condition. And if you're doing that work, you're already breaking a cycle, and that probably goes back further than one generation. That's not just healing, that's evolution. So pat yourself on the back 2 times, maybe 3, and give yourself credit. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. Leave those likes, leave that subscription, leave the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Finger's a little weird.
I know how to heal my father wound. I know how to heal my father wound. Just wear diapers.